Welcome back to Farang Footprints, the place where real people share real stories from the roads, rivers, and shadows of Thailand. Today's story comes from Maria, a 39-year-old woman from Sweden who thought she had lost everything after a painful divorce, only to find herself reborn under the Thai sun. She discovered beauty, culture, new hope, and love. But as many travelers eventually learn, what feels soft at first can have thorns. This is her story, told in her own words. A story about trust, culture, starting over, and the fine line between love and illusion. Here is Maria.
I never expected to start over at 39. When people talk about divorce, they do not mention the silence afterward, the kind that sits in your kitchen like a ghost, the kind that makes your phone feel heavier because no one is calling. My marriage had been dead long before it ended. 12 years with a man who treated me like a polite roommate with shared bills. No fights, no passion, just nothingness. When the papers were signed, I looked in the mirror and saw someone I did not recognize. Not sad, just empty. One night, after too much wine, I typed into Google, best places to start over as a woman alone. Thailand kept appearing, as if the universe was gently nudging me toward the other side of the world. 3 months later, I boarded a plane. I remembered gripping the armrest as the engines roared. Not from fear, but because it felt like I was flying away from a life that never truly belonged to me. Bangkok hit me like a warm wave mix with diesel fumes and sweet mango. The air tasted alive. People moved like flowing water, fast, unpredictable, but with purpose. I spent my first week just walking, learning how the city breathed, learning how I breathed within it. Street food stools that wobbled but held mountains of flavor, temples that hummed with incense and silence. Smiles, real ones, that felt like small gifts. It was not long before I knew I needed more than a vacation. I wanted a life here. So I moved to Chiang Rai, quieter, greener, and cheaper. A place where the nights smelled like rain and jasmine. Where people said hello without expecting anything. For the first time in years, I felt my shoulders relax. I met him at a small coffee shop near the river. His name was Krit. He was 42, gentle-spoken, and worked as a construction supervisor. He ordered iced cocoa with extra milk, a detail that made me smile more than it should have. He was not handsome in a movie sense, but in a real way, the kind of face you'd trust without knowing why. We talked about music first. Then food. Then places we wanted to travel. He told me I reminded him of calm water. I had not felt like calm water in years. I felt like a cracked dam. But hearing it, I wanted to be that person. From that day, he messaged me every morning. Good day today. Simple. Sweet, unthreatening, and slowly, cautiously, I let him into my life. Krit showed me the Thailand hidden behind guidebooks. Local markets where grandmothers slapped fish with effortless precision. Bamboo shacks serving soups so spicy they made time slow down. Family ceremonies where everyone sat on mats and laughed loudly without alcohol. Village roads glowing orange at sunset. He taught me the small things. Never touch someone's head, remove shoes indoors, why respectfully, but not exaggerated, and always accept food, even if you are full. It is love, not nutrition. I loved learning all of it. More than that, I loved learning him. He was patient, warm, protective without being controlling. He held my hand, like something fragile. There were moments I caught him staring at me as if he could not believe I existed. It made me feel chosen. something I had not felt in a very long time. Living in Thailand long-term as a foreigner is not just sunshine and coconuts. It is paperwork, stamps, fees, forms that look identical but are not. It is border runs, embassy appointments, queues that move slower than glaciers. Krit helped me with all of it. He took days off work, drove me to immigration, stood beside me as officials examined my documents. When I apologized for the trouble, he smiled and said, "You are my future. I help with my heart." People stared when I heard that. Even the officer at the desk blinked. I felt my cheeks burn from happiness. We grew closer through every stamp, every queue, every shared frustration. And by the time my year-long extension was approved, Krit and I had become something solid. Team. A future felt not just possible, but probable. Our first year together unfolded like a long, warm exhale. We traveled. Aizung villages with rice fields that shimmered, Kanchanaburi waterfalls that roared like hungry gods, small islands where stray dogs napped in the sand like kings. We cooked together. We argued gently over whether Swedish or Thai pancakes were superior. Taiwan's won. Do not tell Sweden. We talked about life, family, and dreams. He wanted a small house. A quiet life. Maybe a business someday. A small restaurant run together. I started imagining it too. And somewhere between all the sunsets and shared bowls of noodles, Kret asked me a question that froze the air around us. "Maria, you won't be my wife next year?" My heart did not flutter. It cracked open like a window in a dusty room. I said yes. At least, I thought I meant it. The first time I noticed something was wrong was at a night market. Krit disappeared for 20 minutes, returning smelling of whiskey. He laughed it off, blaming old friends he would run into. I brushed it aside. Everyone has off days. But then it happened again, and again. Not heavily drunk, just dulled, less present, more distracted. Sometimes I would wake at midnight to find him sitting outside on the phone, voice low, tone sharp. When I asked, he always said, "Just work problem." I wanted to believe him, so I did. Love makes you interpret red flags as misunderstandings. One evening, he did not come home at all. I waited on the couch, flicking through my phone, pretending to read. A 3 has to more. Not drunk. Worse. His eyes were empty in a way I had never seen. I asked where he would been. He said he was busy. I asked again. He snapped. We had our first real fight. His voice cracked. Mine broke. Hours later, after he fell asleep, I found a crumpled betting slip in his pocket. Gambling. The kind that does not happen, just once. My stomach dropped. I sat on the edge of the bed staring at him. This man who once held my hand like it was the most precious thing in the world, now looking like a stranger wearing his face. Over the next weeks, the truth seeped out like water through cracks. He owed money. A lot. Mostly from late-night card games and online betting. He had borrowed from coworkers, from cousins, once, and this broke me, from his own mother. He did not ask me for money. Not once. But his shame, his silence, his disappearing acts, it was all a request he did not dare to make. I loved him. I hated that I did. I tried to help. I set boundaries. I suggested counseling, rehab, talking to a monk, anything. Sometimes he listened. Sometimes he shut down. The drinking worsened. The charm dimmed. We stopped laughing. We stopped dreaming. The future we imagined, started dissolving. One morning, while drinking coffee in stiff silence, Crit suddenly said, "We should still marry. You and me, we strong." But his eyes told another story. Fear, dependency, desperation. He did not want a wife. He wanted stability, a lifeline. And I, a woman who once escaped a loveless marriage, now saw the same walls forming again. But this time, the pain came with tropical sunsets and jasmine nights. Beauty wrapped around brokenness. Leaving felt impossible. Staying felt worse. The breaking point came on a humid evening when he did not come home again. At 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. A message from a number I did not know. "Crit drinking here. You come pay for him. He no money." My chest tightened, not because of the money, but because this was the first time someone asked me to cover his failures. I did not go. The next morning, he appeared looking small, embarrassed, but not remorseful. And something inside me, something I did not know was still intact, finally snapped into clarity. Love should never feel like drowning. I did not leave that day, or the next. But I slowly took steps back. Emotionally, physically, spiritually. I told him we could not marry. Not like this, not with lies. Not with addiction standing between us like a shadow. He cried. I cried. Neither of us tried to argue. Truth does not require explanation. Eventually, I moved to a new apartment across town. We still talk sometimes. Friendly. Say. Honest. He is getting help now, not because of me, but because he finally wanted to help himself. And me, I am learning that starting over is not a one-time event. It is a process, a slow unfolding. Thailand did not give me a fairy tale. It gave me something better, a chance to remember who I am.
And that was Maria's story, a story not of failure, but of rediscovery. Love can illuminate us. It can also expose the shadows we refuse to see. But every footprint, even the painful ones, leads us somewhere new. If you have had your own experiences in Thailand, love, loss, lessons, or something in between, send your story to farangfootprints@gmail.com. Your voice may become the next one heard here. Until next time, keep walking your path and keep watching where the wind carries you.